Okay, so very quickly, you're going to be able to read this, so I'm not going to read it all for you. I'm going to touch on highlights for you, and then we'll move on from there. This will also be a link on the Thespys site on the website. I do have to make a couple of corrections to it. Some couple of things came through yesterday and just even today from EDTA that I'm having to correct a couple of things on. So I'll go through it quickly. The reason it's not called individual events or IEs is because we are now, just as we always have been, taking on and moving up to the format for the International Thespian Festival and EDTA. And they are, their IEs have now turned into Thespys, which is an International Thespian Excellence Award. So you're not going to see the term IEs anymore. I know. I have IE shirts. It makes me sad. You can still call it that, but it's all good. Very quickly, you need to register for Virtual ThesCon through the main registration link. That means Frank and Eric's domain. Please go ahead very quickly and get that done for their sake, and also so that once that's completed, you can go on to Thespys registration on the Thespys website. There are unlimited IEs for both performance and technical for each troupe this year. You could do 25 and it's all good. Okay, so please, please, please encourage your kids, but do make sure that what they're sending in, you've seen, and just to make sure that we have quality going through, because we still have our fantastic adjudicators from Broadway professionals and guest artists, etc. So make sure that what we're sending in is great, but please, please, please enter. There are no multi-troupe IEs this year. 2 or more troupes performing Thespys together. This is simply a protocol and safety issue. Most schools would not let you do it anyway, and we are just making that call just for this year, guys. So I'm really sorry if your seniors had planned on doing that. I apologize, but it's just not going to happen for this year. You can register and pay for all Thespys together this year. Now, here's the deal. When you register and you forget a Thespy or want to add one, perfect. But last year we had to go individually. This year it's all on the same thing, which I'm going to show you in just a second. Registration opens Sunday, October 4th, but again, you've got to also register for conference, which also opens that day and closes on the super deadline. All of the forms, payments, and verifications must be secured on or before this date, and the video submissions must be uploaded onto a different platform, which I will talk to you about. I'm going to go really quick, so if there's questions, I'm going to do them all at the end if that's okay. You go to our Georgia Thespians page and website, which it looks great. You go to the Thespians page, which looks like this, and then on that, look, you see a registration form. You also have registration information. Again, this is where I'm telling you I'm not going to read for you, but I did put it all into one thing for you so you can go straight to this. And if you look, it tells you the fees, it tells you that they must be inducted thespians, it tells you who to contact, and I should have said that, I apologize. Our sweet Jordan Hughes, that is our middle school coordinator, is getting married this fall. And so she could not be on the call today, but I can answer any messages or questions, or you can email her as well. I do, and Eric, we didn't catch this, it's my fault and hers, I apologize. Her, on this part of the website, her email doesn't have an N in Jordan. So just FYI, I noticed that. So I'll change that too on my end. So on the registration form, you're going to go to it and it looks like this. You're going to hit submit entry and it's going to bring you to a form that looks like this. Again, if you notice at the top, you're going to check middle school or high school. You're going to put in your school name, troupe numbers, director's name, etc. And this is obviously the troupe directors filling this out. Administrator's name and position, and then it goes to being able to go into detail as far as how you're going to start to submit. But we need all of those when you generate those. Sorry, I'm going to go backwards. When you generate those into your form, all of those will be required. I just screenshotted this before I had done them all, but you would have to go ahead and do all of the above information. Administrator's name and position is very important because they'll be signing a form. So please make sure you get both of those items in there. We need to know who they are, not just a random teacher. I don't mean that in a bad way, but we need to know that it's in my case, it would be Beth McElwee, who is our upper school director or principal. Then you can go ahead and start submitting your categories. It'll be a drop down. You can go ahead and put show title and publisher. And then once you've done that, you're simply going to go ahead and go to the next entry, or and that's by just adding. We will have to, and this is what we caught, at some point in this process, we will be adding in a place to put the thespian ID number and the students involved in that category. I apologize that that's not on this screenshot, but it will be before this goes up on the website and the link, okay? Then if you wanted to do a musical category, I just gave an example of Dogfight, Some Kind of Time. MTI is the publisher, very easy. You could go back if you messed up and remove that, and then you can add again. And then again, for technical, you're not putting the category here. Notice that. You didn't have to put solo musical, you didn't have to put group acting, you're not having to put stage management in this section. It's going to come in the separate link. So if you have a question about that, that's why it's much more simplified this year, if that makes sense to everybody. Then once you've done that, you will have a generated form that looks like this. It's going to tell you how many entries you have, the subtotal of your entries, and then it gives a lot of information, which again, I'm not going to read for you. If you chose offline, no credit card, then you are going to be saying that you are sending a payment. You're not paying via PayPal or our other online options, and that is the hard copy. And you can email the forms to me and scan those, but again, for Frank and Eric, to send the payment, you must send it hard copy to them if you're checking offline. If you're checking online, guess what? You get a little service card fee. It's not bad. I wanted to show you for 75 for 3 IEs. It's $255. And again, once you've done that, you can scan and send in anything straight to me because we'll already have a record of your payment. I'm going to stop in a second after registration. I know I'm going fast. The entry form then looks like this. Once I've done it, I got congratulated. It told me it was successfully submitted. And then it's going to tell me to select the link below to view the invoice. Please do that. You're going to view that invoice and make sure that you see everything on there that you need to see. Again, you can also click to review. This will be an email that will come to you. And once you click on down towards the bottom, it'll say click here to review your entry. You will see the same thing. It's the same page there. You will then have a form that comes up in your email, and it looks like this. It's all on one page, or actually it's 2 separate pages, but I just screenshotted so you could see what was on it. It's a registration invoice of what you've put in. It says your entry status is submitted. That means you've gone online and submitted, and you've told us how you're going to pay. That happened to be a payment status of not received because I didn't online pay for this one. It'll tell you the information that you need to look at the bottom to make sure that you see that it is correct. And then it also has that place on authorizations, which is your signature and your administrator's name and signature. So again, just as Eric was explaining and Frank about how to do the DocuSign type things and how to do this, please make sure that you understand that it has to be a written signature in whatever format that is. As far as you can write it and scan it, or you can use the different formats that will allow you to draw it in, and that's for your principal as well. This form must be either hard copy sent to the Georgia Thespians website, Frank and Eric, with your payment, or if you've gone online, you can send all of this scanned and copied straight to me. And you'll see all of my emails on this whole thing and on the website everywhere. So just so you guys know, and then once you see that, your entry status will say submitted until I can go in. This is my admin section where once you've submitted and I'm looking at it, I can look and check. It'll say under review and the receive date of when I got yours. And it basically tells you your online Thespys registration has been completed and is under review. That means you've gotten it registered online and you've gotten it paid. I won't be accepting until I get the scanned copy of verification, if that makes sense. So if you're sending it hard copy to Frank and Eric and the registration, to that email, not to registration, but to Thespy registration at that email. You may want to also shoot it to me so I can go ahead and review it and tell you if your publisher is correct, etc. If you look like you're in good shape. A lot of people did that last year, which really worked well. And then, if you get accepted, that simply means you've done everything, and you'll get something that says accepted, and it tells you that everything has been turned in. And then at that point, you'll receive a link for your video submission. That's why I was telling you, please go ahead and register for conference right away if you think you're going to do Thespys, so that you can get this whole process done quickly and then have your link sent to you as accepted. Does that make sense? You're not going to get an email and get a link to the next platform for video submission until you are accepted. Everybody cool with that? Yes? Okay. I can't see a chat, so you got to tell me, Holly, if I'm...
I want to make sure you were done.
Okay.
First question is, in the group IEs, are we still capped at 16?
Yes, absolutely, and I'll get to that in just a second. It's coming up.
All right.
I'm going to go in order with registration and other things. So hold, if you don't mind, hold a thought until I get to that section, and then if I don't answer it, that'd be awesome if you don't mind.
All right.
Just to ask it. Thank you.
Second question. Is the registration tab that you showed in the first slide and entry form the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. Second question from the same person. Also, everything should be emailed, ? No mail in, but I think that was answered.
Yeah, you can do both. You can do either. I'm just telling you, in my opinion, you want to email and scan to me so I can go ahead and look, because it takes me a minute. You can imagine the hours of going through to double check everybody's publications and rights holders, etc. So the quicker that you get it to me, the more quickly I can get that link to you to submit. Okay?
All right. That was it question-wise. Anything else that you need to add?
Nope. I'm going to keep going then. Okay. On the website, again, under the registration form, you'll see something called IE Thespys Guide. This isn't what I told you. I'm going to have to update a little, because finally, with a virtual format, they have figured out how they're handling tech IEs. So that was basically what the issues were that weren't completed. I finally got that information from EDTA. So if you go to that link that is on our website, it'll tell you the categories that we have, and it'll also give you, and again, you can click on this and read, so I'm not going to go through that, but in every category, it's going to give you a section for your rules for that category. So if you guys notice, I had the first page of the Thespys Guide kind of in the large format there, and then to the side, I just put an example of the page that would talk specifically about rules for acting. I just happened to pick acting, but it'll be for every event that we are able to do. These are some changes that came through, and I want to make sure everybody sees these. Because of the virtual format, posting of any video submission, i.e. Thespys, is strictly prohibited and may result in an immediate disqualification. Just like you can't in-person film while we're doing them, you cannot post these. Okay, everybody good? We can do it because we've got permission on our platform, but you all cannot. And then the time limits for technical events were updated, so now I have them, and I'll go through those in just a second as well. Reminders. Yes, you still need to wear all black. Okay. Again, if it's a monologue and they don't have black shoes on and we don't ever see their from below their waist, more power to you. I didn't see it. Okay. But if we can see it and it's like a group number or something, then you want to make sure that you do that. Group performances. Do you have to wear a mask? Please don't, if you can get by with not. It's going to be, it's depending on your type of Thespy category. Your school restrictions and protocols have got to be what you go by. We cannot make that decision for you. So I would say if you have a school that's being very restrictive, I would not try to maybe do a lot of the group numbers unless you can really separate and not wear a mask. It's just the adjudicators are going to have a very difficult time having to adjudicate through mask. I know you guys understand that. And then we'll be adding a place on the Thespy registration page. That's what I told y'all that's not on there now, where you will need to submit thespian names and ID numbers on our end. And again, I told you about the no multi-troop due to safety concerns, and protocol. I'll stop for a sec. Do we have questions, Holly?
We do. We have 2 questions.
Awesome.
3. First is, can we still upload to YouTube first to get the unlisted link?
That's a great question. I honestly will have to check on that through nationals. So I'll make myself a note when we look at this Q&As, and I will put that on this guide. That will be a link that will come up before you guys can register on October 4th. So I will put the answer to that question in this link. Is that, I'm sorry, I don't know that answer. It's a great question.
Thanks for asking it. We need to know that. Can we piecemeal our registration so that those students who are involved in any of the events can be registered first in order to expedite the different registrations for things like Thespys Tech Challenge, etc.?
Yes, all I was telling people, you could register Thespys all throughout that window of time between October 4th and again, you wouldn't get the link if you try to wait till December 11th just to register online for Thespys. You're not going to be accepted. You're not going to be able for me to review it, get it accepted, and you upload a different link. So your window of time is a little tighter for you guys with Thespys. You can't really wait until the last minute, but absolutely, if you have some that you know you're going to do, go ahead and get them in, and then later you have some that work, great. We can definitely
start the process sooner than later.
Right.
And the 3rd question, so these are live or pre-recorded, question mark?
These are pre-recorded, and I will get to that in just a second when I get to the digital format.
Okay, last question so far. Do MS, I'm assuming that's middle school, have to be inducted thespians?
That is a Shelby/Jordan question and a Paul question. I don't know what they decided. I apologize.
They do. To do individual events or Thespys, middle schoolers have to be inducted thespians.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions before CC can move on? Can students still do multiple IEs?
100%. They can be in as many IEs as they would like to, just not with another school. True.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else before CC moves on? All right, CC.
Okay, sorry, I know I'm trying to go fast. In the IE Thespian Guide, there is also a place where if you have to get rights for anything, there are pages and forms to fill out, but hold the thoughts until I get to this next part, because I'll show you in just a second some formatting that EDTA came up with to tell you what's acceptable and not, which I think will be easier for people. In our quick reference guide, which is our 3rd tab down, you will go to a very quick reference guide that says basically, what the category is, how many participants can be in it, all of those events, timing, etc. This is what I will also need to update now that EDTA has gotten their tech requirements under control. I will go ahead and tell you that it is an 8-minute submission now for tech, and I'll put this in. And you will not have an interview portion. It's taken up by a different format, which I'll get to in just a second, of short answers. So again, this quick reference guide, I'll update it for the website. And then, and the only thing that's not correct on it right now is just the technology stuff, everything, the technical Thespys. And it says IE/Thespys there, just because I knew I was trying to make sure everybody understood it was still the same thing. And then lastly, Thespys rubrics, those are already on the website. They look like this. They are in a link. It's for every category that we have. It also includes 2 categories that we do not have. And we will look at maybe for next year, including if we choose to, but because we have Film Works, and Film Festival, we do not do short film in IEs as a competition because Jake handles that and does a great job with the festival. And we have not added the makeup design. We're hoping maybe next year, that is a national IE or Thespy. We're hoping next year to perhaps add that in if we choose to do so. So questions really quick about that before I go on.
I have questions for CC regarding that.
Because I'm running late just because I'm having to go quickly. So I really kind of want to go through fast and then answer questions at the end if I can. I gave you guys a link. Yes.
Cece, one quick thing. There was a question about can students still do multiple IEs? And that's yes for us, but does international still require that you can only do one?
They do, and that is down in these guides that are coming up that I'm about to show you. It'll say that as well. So
Perfect.
yes, we can submit it, but if you're submitting to international, it would just be one that
Each
you would
student can only do one. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on that.
Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, that's confusing. I'm sorry, guys, there's a lot that's different this year, so let me go through very quickly. This is just a link to to our international link of Thespheny Guidelines. Again, I wanted you to see how they have a summary of changes. So this is basically saying the highlighted guidelines: acceptable material for non-musical performance, acceptable material for non-musical performance categories, etc. If you notice, Concord Theaters has incorporated several of our rights holders and publishing companies. Again, I did the work for you. You don't have to go to this because I put it in this. So hopefully you can go and look at some of the things that they did. I will tell you, because of our pandemic, for the technical events, you may do your presentation from a theoretical or a realized production. Obviously, several of us had our shows canceled, so your students would not be able to do a realized production, perhaps, or even this fall. So it may be a theoretical or realized production for any of your technical events. I just happened to choose stage management to show you that. There are category rules. Again, if you look, the video presentation for technology is 8 minutes. And then there will be a little short synopsis at the end. It gives you the requirements. The rest of what normally would be your Q&A interview is handled by short answer questions. And again, I'm going to go really fast just because I want to get to everything and then answer the questions. This is just a basic thing that shows you how to upload your portfolio samples and provide written responses. That is on the link that I had up a few slides ago. That is where you're looking at the EDTA website link, and these are right there for you to look and get examples of that. And we'll see if we can also get a quick link onto our website as well, perhaps. So new digital format. It's the same one that Jared talked about with scholarships. And this is our submission factor. This is why I wanted to get to this, because there are 2 steps. Once you've registered and been accepted, you'll receive an email with a link for the video submissions. You might see it called Open Water. This is where directors and students can go for video submissions and communications from the adjudication process. We strongly suggest, and this is just we, that troop directors handle the creation of the initial account format themselves. Because if you allow your students to do all of it and they can make their own account, they will also get their adjudication results straight back to them before you have time to give them to them. So if you handle it, then you can still send them a link to upload there. You don't have to bother with that, but you will be the one that receives the things from adjudication, the results. I don't know how you all feel about that, if you're fine with your students getting it and you, because you'll be able to put both your students' emails and yours. But personally for me, I'm always careful about looking at what the comments are before I share everything. Of course, I'll share their scoring and that kind of thing, but it can, again, up to you. I'm just saying strongly suggest you take it for what it's worth. It is possible to have your students create, so you guys just look at that. It's a platform that the International Festival used this summer, and it's what we're going to use continuing on. There are 2 rounds for Georgia of virtual adjudication. One will be in December and early January. That will be those people that send in all of their their Thespys by the December 11th deadline. Once we have adjudicated those, we will take all of the overall superiors. You will have that announced. You will know if you're in the running. And you will have a second round of adjudication that will then choose our showcase for closing ceremonies. Now, this is different this year. On our platform, everyone who earns an overall superior will also be featured, not in the closing ceremony section, but in a separate section room in our platform. So you're going to get to have your kids, regardless of whether they made it to showcase or not, everybody gets to see their performance. So I hope everybody's happy about that. it worked pretty easily this summer. Hopefully it's going to work for us. Texas is using it this month coming up, so hopefully we'll figure anything out. And look over the slides if you need questions. When you go to the Thespy link, you're going to see something that looks like this. Again, I'm just going to kind of shoot through quickly. Then you'll go, and this is where, once you've registered, this is where you choose your categories. So that's why it's not on ours, it's on theirs. And then again, there's more information that you fill in, and then you upload your link. I'm just going quickly because this was all screenshotted from EDTA to me. And then this is an adjudication page, which basically shows you what they're going to see. And again, it gives us a couple of other things as far as doing things. I'm putting all of the information that EDTA sent for digital adjudication, just so you can see how they're going to do it. And then audition tips. Again, I'm going to let you guys kind of look through, but just be aware of, it's pretty much, the same as most, but make sure you have a track or an MP3 file. And again, you don't have to pay an accompanist if you already have the track, which most of us do. They're just saying we have to have a track with no vocals on the track. And consider where you're placing your scene partner. You don't need to look straight into the camera. Just think about those things. Again, this will be where you can read about it. Filming location, all of these things need to be looked at just before you submit. And then for your portfolios, it's going to give you extensive guides to that as well. So it'll tell you basically how to do all of those things. And then this is our contact for me and for Jordan. And again, a link for these Google Slides will be provided but on the website. And I'll make all of those changes, and I'll answer some of those questions and add that into this. And that's it.